What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I am going to show you how to install the turbo tail lights in the pre-89 Supras. So stay tuned and I will show you how I did it in my car. Today we're back in the garage, obviously, and I'm going to show you how I installed the turbo model taillights in my car. You can see here I've got the pre-89 taillights. They're pretty beat up. These are the ones that came on the car originally. You can see I've got some cracks in them. Overall, the centerpiece is okay. It's just rough, so it's in rough shape. You can see I've got a bunch of cracking right there. I picked up my set of turbo taillights for like $100 a couple of years back. And I just kind of went with it. So if you guys are watching this video and you're like, yeah, there's better ways to do this, I'm sure there probably is. I just kind of went with it. I wanted these taillights on the car. I had no other ways to get references to install these. I don't have any other friends that have these Supras with these taillights, so I couldn't measure it, line it up as best I could, and then I drilled the holes. So they're not too difficult to install. I'll show you the differences here. I'm going to hurry and take these off. Just so I can show you what holes you need to drill, because there are going to be some differences. You can see there's some studs. There's 6 of them all the way around. You're most likely going to have ruined gaskets on here. The rubber gaskets that come on the car, they get pretty crusty. When I went to install mine, they just kind of fell apart. They crumbled apart. So I trial and errored a bunch of different ways to seal them so they didn't leak. And I found something that worked. Don't use RTV or any type of silicone sealant because it's a mess and it just doesn't seal right. Take my word for it, I screwed up and I used silicone. I gooped it in there. I tried to get it as good as I could. It was horrible. So don't use silicone. Use some sort of a rubber like door jam seal, like something that you use like on an exterior door of like a house. Use something like that, a foam rubber, because it'll smash down and it'll create the seal. Go ahead and set you guys up. I'm going to pull these taillights out and then we'll kind of go from there. Okay, kind of a pain, just because the adhesive foam that I used just didn't want to come apart, which is good. That's the whole point. So you can see here on the back, this is what I did. I know some of you might cringe at what I've done here, but this is the pre-89. This is the 89 and older. So you can see there's no differences as far as the bolt pattern goes. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And over here on this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The nut for these studs are 8mm nuts. So if you're trying to pull the tail light off, the old one off to put the new one on, and for whatever reason it's not coming off, just check and make sure you got all 6 of them off. There's nothing else. If it's like held on there pretty tight, it could be because of some of the adhesive or some of the gaskets still kind of stuck. Be careful because these lights are really fragile. I mean, you can see just like right there, there's like a big old crack in it. I mean, they're very old lights. And especially if it's been sitting out in the sun, you do run risk of damaging it. What I did on this, and I know some of you might be cringing a little bit on how I did this, but this is the piece that comes into this light. So this is the pre-89 bulb piece inside here. What I did is I put some Velcro across the bottom of it, across the top of it, and then I just did Velcro straps just to hold it in. I'm going to fix this later on down the road. Right now, I don't care. It doesn't bother me too much. So I just did the Velcro as it holds it in. Right here is a piece that I cut out. So if you look at these two here, You got the corner marker, the turn signal, the reverse light, and the brake light. In this, it's different. So in this one, you've got brake light, reverse light, turn signal. So it's opposite. So that's why it's kind of thrown off. So you can see the difference. So reverse. So they're obviously not the same. Turn signal. Okay. So what I did is I cut this piece of it out. I'm going to just get another one of these. It would be nice just to have the actual one that comes with this year tail light. I didn't get them when I bought these from, I got them used obviously from a guy here in Salt Lake. But he didn't have this part of it with it. So I just kind of adapted the one I already had. I knew I was going to just throw these away. I'm not going to try to resell them. They're beat up. So that's why I wasn't too concerned about cutting this part of it out. The Velcro just comes off like this, holds it on there nice and tight. You can't see it. It sits back there pretty tight. Okay. And that's what it looks like on the inside. So everything's there. The one thing I'm missing is the reverse light. So yes, right now I do not have reverse indicators. I'm going to fix that. Like I said, I just need to source one of these for the new style tail lights. So it'll go away. This will be gone. I'm just going to throw everything away. You can see I cut this piece out because with this piece in here, it kind of looked like one of these. It sat like this and it would not go into the tail light. So I just cut it out. I could probably put a bulb in there or something to get the reverse light to work, but I'm not overly concerned about it. It's not a requirement here for us in Utah to have a reverse light. I mean, it is, but it's not to get our vehicles registered, you don't have to have that. So we don't have safety inspections anymore. And so if my car were to get that, I would fail the safety because I don't have reverse lights. So just keep that in mind. But yes, it does not adapt right to the new tail lights. The old one does not work with this. You've got to cut it apart to make it work. All right, so with that back on, this is what I used. It's door trim foam. It's got adhesive on it. I'm going to obviously have to go in and replace this, but I did the trim adhesive all the way around the outside of this. The rest of it's stuck on the car still. So this has got adhesive. It's stuck to the metal, adhesive right here. So the only problem that I see with this is the water when it runs down here. If you don't get it sealed enough along the top here, the water drips inside your light. So I do need to fix that. There's like a little imperfection right here where the water could run through there. So just keep that in mind. Also, what I did with mine was I oblonged these. So I went in and I actually ovaled them out to make it easier. I left the bottom ones the same, but I ovaled out the top ones. Okay, the top three, just to make it so the light was a little bit easier to line up when I was installing it. But like I said, don't use like silicone. Don't just like glob silicone on there and stick it on there. If you ever have to pull them off, it is a nightmare to try to get that stuff off. And to try to pry the light away, you run risk of breaking the light. I'm actually getting ready to wrap my car. And so if I would have left that adhesive on there, it would have been a nightmare to get the light out and the wrap wouldn't have been able to tuck underneath the light. So the next piece I'm going to talk about here is the center section. This one is different than this one. A few more pieces of trim for along the bottom here. You can see this one is a little bit longer. That trim comes all the way over, where this one, see how much shorter that is? This piece right here is wider, and that's what makes up for this. Whereas this piece is narrow, and so they make up for it with longer trim. So you do have to add more holes. Drill in, I believe it's like here and here. But the easiest way to do it when you're putting it in, just take that piece and kind of line it up with the existing holes. And then you'll see where you need to make your marks to put those in. So I'll hurry and pull this out and show you guys what I did and how I put in my battery kill switch. You can switch the lock, the tumbler system for the previous set. You can swap it into the new one. It does work. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do the battery kill switch, so I just chucked all mine. The latch still works, obviously, to open the trunk, or I wouldn't be able to get in there. So I'm going to pull the center section out, and I'll show you what I did and what holes you need to drill. That's pretty much it. one thing you gotta remember. So this trim piece right here, see it's got that little tab. This trim piece goes through that. So don't force it. There's the stud right there that goes through that. So if you're like, can't figure out why this isn't coming off, remember that's there. So don't break that tab off. There's one on both sides. Okay. So, and mine's loose. Mine's ready to come off now. The only thing that's holding it is my battery kill switch. And then you can see it just kind of goes through that hole right there. I'm going to hurry and pop that off, pull it through, and then I'll show you guys where to go from there. But on this, so you've got a nut here, a nut here, a nut here. You got the nuts on the back down here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'll show you guys kind of a better idea. There's nuts down here in the trim for the bottom of this section here. That is a 10 millimeter nut. There's 3 of those on the bottom. And then the license plate holder right here. These, make sure you take your license plate off because these actually go into the car. It bolts into the car. So if you're like pulling on it, your license plate's still in there, take those bolts out. Okay, and then one more thing, and I always forget this part, I don't know why, but your license plate illumination lights, don't get too crazy and just start yanking stuff out because you're gonna break those wires and have to fix it. Inside here, before you take it off, the license plate light right here, there's 2 screws, 2 just small Phillips head screws. When you take those off, that thing comes out. There you go. Okay. So you just have to kind of like angle it back and then push it through the front. So, or angle it back and then push it backwards. So same thing with this side over here. Do the same thing. I know it's kind of hard to see. Just a screw on the top, screw on the bottom, and then just kind of twist it and then push it back and then it'll come out the back side of it. So you're using a bolt, push in. It's a little different there. That piece is similar. Threaded stud, no threaded stud. It'd be like right there. And then the top on the old one, stud, push in, stud. On this one, stud, stud, and stud. That one's already there. I think you got to drill that one out because like a little rubber plug in there. I think you pop the plug out, but I think you'd want to drill that a little bit bigger so it's easier to line up. There's a hole there. You do have to drill this one right here. Okay, so you got the one right there for this trim piece, but you're gonna have to add this hole right here and this hole right here. Okay, so those are the 2 you have to drill. Those 2, and then I would just drill this one. You can see my finger on the back side of it. I would just drill it out to make it easier for you. But you are 100% going to have to drill these ones out. Unless your car comes with those already drilled out. Mine didn't. I just kind of lined it up, but I think there was already a mark there for it. So it's flat, like a flat spot. You can see right on the end of this trim piece here. Just drill it a little bit bigger than what that stud is. So that way it just lines up a little bit easier and you're not trying to fight it. But yeah, it's just going to hold that in. If you drill the hole too big, just put a washer on the backside with a nut and you'll be fine. So that's the only 2 things you actually have to do to get that centerpiece to fit. So overall, pretty easy install, not too difficult. Like I said, I had no direction when I did mine. I kind of just looked to see what the differences were. Just those few little tricks, remember that. And I've already said it, but be super careful when putting this on. Plastic can be pretty frail, especially because they're just old. Like I said, if it's been sitting in the sun, they're going to be pretty fragile. So just be careful with them. Don't force them on. It doesn't go in any certain order. You can take this piece off first. You can see right there, the light stayed on just by itself. So you don't have to go in a specific order. I've heard people say that you've got to do this piece first and then the lights. It doesn't affect it. The piece doesn't even touch the light. So you can do the lights first if you want to kind of bolt those in and make sure you're centered on this middle piece, then you can do that. I didn't take this light off because it's the same exact thing as this. It's the same 6 holes, same position. So one thing I'm going to try different this time is, so I was using this stuff. It's a little bit thicker and I'm going to use this stuff. So this is also door trim. It's hollow. So when you put it onto something and then you tighten it down, it's going to squish it flat and make this seal that way. You can get it in, it comes like in this, where it's like two pieces hooked together, which would be ideal for this ridge here. But I'm going to do just the single one, and I'm going to just stick it right on the top. So this piece right here is where your seal is going to be. So this ridge, and then around the stud. So I would probably go above the stud and then along this ridge right here, all the way around here. That's what's going to make the contact to make it watertight. So I'm going to go ahead and just clean it up really good. And then I'm going to just lay this stuff down kind of just like this on top of it. It doesn't need to be crazy thick. That foam that I did is super thick. It doesn't need to be that thick. I just wanted to make sure it was enough so when I tightened it down, it'd push into the foam. But it doesn't need to be that thick. I'm going to go ahead and throw these back on, and yeah, we'll kind of go from there. All right, well, there you go. So pretty easy, not too difficult. Took me just a couple minutes to get these back in, nice and solid. I don't think I missed anything, but if I did, I apologize. But yeah, it's fairly easy install, and it doesn't take a lot of work. Just make sure you have a drill bit and a drill. Like I said, the three bottom bolts or three bottom nuts are 10 millimeters. Everything else is 8 millimeter, and just drill those holes here and here. And I think you're good to go. So yeah, overall pretty easy install. I also don't have my interior. You guys probably put that together already. It's not too difficult to pull your interior out, those back plastic pieces. It's a little time consuming because there are a few bolts that you've got to get to. But once you get to that back portion where it's completely open in the back, where you can see the backs of the taillights, it's pretty straightforward from there. So take you a couple hours to do it, but it's not difficult by any means. So you guys have been pretty awesome about commenting on all my videos, and I'll continue to crank those out for you. And if there's something else you guys want to see, let me know, and I will video that as well. So there's a few different things that I'm going to, or plan on recording. One of them going to be the wide fenders. So this is actually going to be my new wrap color right here. It's kind of like a satin burgundy. There's a little bit on the spoiler right there, just seeing how it looked. So I will be wrapping the entire car this color. I'll do a video on that. I'll do a video on adding the three-piece spoiler. That's pretty easy as well. It's just a little time consuming. I'm also going to be doing the wide fenders, the Shine Auto over fenders. Those are shipped, just waiting to get them. I will show a video on how to do that as well. If there's any more videos you guys want to watch as far as like canyon driving, I will do that again as well. So I got a lot of feedback from that last video, and people were saying that they wanted to, or they wish they could go drive in the same canyon. Yeah, that canyon's literally 5 minutes from here. It's just right that way. You can see it right from my living room window. So I definitely don't take advantage of it. So I will start to do that more and put some videos together for you guys and show you guys that. Car's looking pretty good. Tail lights on there, look pretty good. Side markers are all hooked in. So I'm getting ready to, I'm fixing this fender here, and I'm fixing the hood. Obviously, you guys probably saw it in the other video. It's just got primer on it right now. When you're wrapping, if any of you guys have wrapped, you'll know that the car has to be pretty clean before you can wrap it, because you will actually see any of the imperfections in the wrap. Because it's not super thick material, but it definitely will still show. So on this three-piece spoiler conversion, I actually got rid of the antenna, and you can see the bodywork still needs to be kind of sanded out. The vinyl shows that. So the car's going to be pretty clean. I've got to clay bar the entire vehicle, and I've got to buff it and everything before I lay the wrap down on it. So hopefully those fenders get here soon so I can start working on that and get that stuff done. And then the next portion will be getting it tuned, and I will keep you guys informed on that. I will also do another video. I plan on doing a video on how I installed my ECU masters. It's not fully installed yet, but how the plug and play works with the ECU masters and how simple it really is to install it. I'm not a wiring wizard by any means, but I was able to figure it out. And so far, everything, like I said, works. Anything else you guys want to see, please let me know. And the next video to come out will be on the spoiler install. So I'll show you how to do that. it's hard because I've obviously already installed it on the car. So doing these videos, I've got to pull it off to show you guys how to do it. So it takes a little bit of time. Subscribe and comment, a like, give me a thumbs up on these videos so I know you guys are interested in this stuff. I will continue to make them, and until the next one, I guess. See you later.